What's going on, Vic, brother? How you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing well. What about yourself?
Oh, I'm feeling good. You got enough energy today? Because I know when you do two shows back to back, it's tough. You and brother Kevin have a good podcast yesterday.
Yeah, you guys keep me on my toes, man, because we always talk about important subject matter, and that's what really gets me going is the subject matter. But you two guys, you guys are something else. So I'm ready
Okay.
for you tonight.
Okay. And for those who are trickling in now, we appreciate you guys for checking in with us tonight on this Wednesday night's broadcast. But tonight we're going to be talking about divided we fall and the barriers among us. Let's go ahead and get it started with the first one. The definition of a barrier: it's a mindset or barrier that we allow to stop us from achieving progress or unity. I'll let you take that one, then I'll piggyback off of it.
Yeah, because there's so many issues, so many things that we allow to stop us from achieving any kind of progress. And we're not talking about unity as far as everyone that looks like us are going to all unite one day and sing "We Shall Overcome," "Kumbaya." But we're
Right.
talking about at least there should be a stream, a mindset of people who want to do the right thing, people who are not going to allow anything to stop them from achieving a goal because of what we're dealing with and what we're going through now as a people. It's terrible, but we got to somehow put these barriers aside, Chaz, so we can come together and make something happen for our children, for our grandchildren, for ourselves, because it's just important right now that we're allowing so many things to sway us one way or the other, and that keeps us from doing what we need to do.
Yep, and there's always different alternatives. I mean, some of us look at the education system like college and things like that, but there's other alternatives we can use to help us achieve these things, such as, like you said, trades. There's all kind of avenues, but the problem is when something hinders us, it's like we shut down and we quit. We fold up after that first little hindrance instead of saying, you know what, let me keep pushing through this. We love to just shut down and fold up after the smallest inconvenience. And I think not only us as blacks, but people as a whole have to figure out and stop, just shutting down over the smallest inconveniences here.
Yeah,
Go ahead. You got something else you want to get
yeah, I was
off?
going to say that our unity has been interrupted because these are the truths that we avoid. What we're talking about now, these barriers, these are the truths that a lot of us we don't like to discuss and we like to avoid them. But what it does is it keeps us divided. So why not come to the table, put these barriers out, and let's see what we can do about removing these barriers so we can all become more better people and unified and just moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and the biggest barrier I would say is the race. I'm talking about black on black. And we talked about this last week. Because a person is dark or another person is light, instead of just saying, you know what, black is black, whatever. It's like we still hung up on that, because you light skin, I feel like you're a better brother than me or stuff like that. It's just nonsense. And I thought by now in 2026, I thought we would have stopped that. But I guess it's still here because you're still seeing it on the news, you're still seeing it on TV, you're still seeing it on social media. And it's like I thought by now, brother, we would have got past that light skin, dark skin nonsense.
Well, you're right. We should have, but when you have a mindset, as you look at the definition of a barrier, it's a mindset. When you develop a certain mindset that you're better than someone because of your pigmentation, whether it be darker or lighter, then you have a serious psychological problem. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, we complain about how people treated us, but then we turn right around and do the same thing to the people that look like us. So this is what baffles me. It confuses me because of the conglomeration of all of these ideas, man. That's just whack. They really are weak too if you really look at it.
Yeah, and I'll touch on this one more time and then I'll move on. But we talked about it last week where a lot of us, these companies, where you can go get, if you dark and you feel like you want to look like a lighter person, getting your skin bleached and all that, these companies are making hands over fist because they seen, okay, a lot of people do not like the race that they are. So since they don't like the race that they are, you pay us this kind of money and we'll get your skin bleached. Now we know the infamous one here was Michael Jackson. He did that and he looked totally different than when he was born. But the point is, this man looked in the mirror and said, I don't like my skin tone. And that was a barrier in his mind. And a lot of people hated him for that.
Sammy Sosa was another one, and in certain African countries, bleach selling a cream is the number one item that people are buying because this is what is called self-hatred, and that
Yeah,
is a barrier.
I definitely agree. Appreciate that, brother. Barrier H, bad mouthing each other, always talking down to each other in a negative way. And we do that a lot, especially in the black community. We grew up listening to our grandmothers, our grandfathers talk on the phone, just ripping people, dogging them out, having nothing good to say. And if something good happens to them, the first thing that comes out of our mouths, I bet you he ain't gonna hold up. I bet you something gonna happen to that. So, and it's like we don't know. And some of us, brother, I think it's been programmed in us so long. We do it so much that sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it because this stuff has been us for 10, 15, 20 years. It just comes out like it's just natural because we're so used of ripping and dogging and slamming and hammering all races.
And you know what that boils down to, Chaz, and I've often said this, but I want to just say it again. It boils down to character. A lot of us, we have not worked on our character. See, we think that we have it all going on, but we really don't. Because when you get something, instead of me being appreciative and happy for you and rejoicing, I want to go out and badmouth you, or I'll get in your face and say, man, you really doing it. And as soon as I get out of your presence, I'm going to say something negative to someone else about you. And it's like, this is because we have no character. And many African Americans, we don't like to develop our character. And this
Yeah,
is why I always say we run to these places because we want these places to give us character. But it has to come from within. No book, no one can give you character. You have to actually work on yourself, man. You really
yeah,
do.
yeah. And I was going to also say too, I talked about this last week, and I'm going to touch on it again with this one. We badmouth each other because we really think the little money that we have, these little jobs, whatever they paying us, we really think that that makes us better than people. And like I said last week, all it takes is some kind of nut at these jobs, these managers who have these at-will policies. They let you go over something that's inconvenient. Sometimes it's out of your control. And here you are, you got to beg, you got to borrow. We're not as good as we think. And this is not just the black race, brother. This is a society issue. You walk around, people think that they better than, got their heads, stuck up their behinds. People always tell them how good they are. They have no flaws. They're perfect. And it's sickening when people really think about that. And like I said, we all are one check away of going through poverty here. I hate that. Let me go ahead and log in some comments here. We got Sister Mashonda. She fires in here. She says, hello. We appreciate her. Sister Barbara fires in here. She says, Hotep. And we appreciate those two sisters for checking in tonight. As we move on to Barrier I, putting recognition over collective progress. Many of us have this bad. And it highlights certain people's individual accomplishments. Instead of looking, because here's the thing, if we talked about this, some of these accomplishments that a few of us may have, that doesn't represent the majority of us, brother. The majority of us aren't doing as good as this individual or this lady or this woman or what have you. So for us to always say, I got this, all you got to do is go to Stanford, all you got to do is that. That's not the whole, because I keep telling people as a whole, we are not doing as good as everybody thinks that we are.
Yeah, and this barrier here, this barrier of putting recognition over collective progress, this is problematic because what it does is it reminds me of a peacock. A peacock struts, and then when people watch the peacock, sometimes the peacock, it spreads its feathers, and you can see all of the beauty, and you can see all the different colors. And the peacock looks as if it's proud because
Yeah.
it wants people to see it. And here's the problem with that, Chaz.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us, we want to be recognized because we're lonely. We want people to love us. We want people to like us. We want people to stroke our image. We want people to say, look at him, look at her. They're
Yeah.
good. In
Yeah.
reality, it's not that way, but we want people to see the facade that we put up. And it
Yeah.
really is a sad situation when you're talking about living in 2026, and yet here you have a group of people, Chaz,
Yeah.
that want to be seen. And if you notice, many times when there's something going on, someone always wants to be out front. They
Yeah.
always want to be the lead person. They
Yeah.
never want to be who they are. They're
Yeah.
never modest. And so this is the problem right here, because most of us, we want recognition, forget how all of us
Mm.
can come together. But again, this is a problem, and this is a barrier, and a lot of us don't like to accept it, but it's where we are if you really think about it.
Yeah, and you hit a point home that I never really thought about. Like you said, a lot of us we doing it because we're lonely. We want somebody to, like you said, pat us on the back, tell us that we're good, make us feel something. Because a lot of us on the inside, it's nothing. It's blank. It's empty. We're spiritually blank. I mean, all this stuff is just bad. So, like you said, I think you really hit that point home here. We talked about how a lot of us we're just looking for someone to give us some kind of a recognition here.
And Chaz, when you've been kicked in the teeth, when you've been kicked in the teeth so many times, you're gonna want someone to notice you. See,
Yeah.
because you're tired of being beaten down. You're tired of being called the N word. You're tired of being called black. You're
Yeah.
tired of not having a job. You're tired of people making fun of you. You're tired of the world. So therefore, when someone shines the spotlight on you, it makes you feel good inside. When someone no, it does. When someone gives you a compliment or someone says something nice about you, instead of accepting it and moving on, you want to say in your heart, tell me more. Because
Yeah.
this is the only time in your life that someone recognizes you. And this is
Mm.
and children are like that because when I teach children, and many times they want to be seen and recognized, and I understand that. But when you are a old decrepit person and you still looking for recognition over collective progress, then you have a problem, and we have to correct that by putting that barrier aside and says you and I can work together and do something for the good of more people than just me always thinking that everyone needs to bow down to me because this great person that I think I am.
Absolutely. We got a couple new comments in here. Brother Ray fires in here. He says, "Hey, y'all, Imhotep, what's going on, Brother Ray? We appreciate you." He fires back in here again. He says, "After the show ends, I'll go to YouTube and I'll share the show from there." We appreciate that, brother. This brother's always logging in and he's
Yeah,
always trying to spread our videos to the other people who are unaware. So we definitely appreciate him.
and you can go to the next barrier or the note, but I wanted to say too with Brother Raymond, we don't often tell people how much they mean to us. We don't, and that's something that we have to work on. I'm talking about you or myself. We do our broadcast, and we go through these points and all of that, and we get to our discussion. But sometimes we have to just pause and tell people that they're important to us. And
Yeah.
this is the moment that I wanted to tell Brother Ray and all of our viewers,
Yeah.
that you guys mean so much to us because you take time out of your busy day, your busy week, and we know that we all have issues that we go through every day. But you said, I'm going to put aside at least an hour, and I'm going to be able to engage with a couple of brothers and bring my 2 cents to the table. I want to be able to have some kind of input and learn and teach. And this is what it's all about, Chess. It's about the people being reciprocal. And I
Yeah.
just wanted to say to Brother Ray, this is going on, I don't know how many years, but he's still been with us. And some
Yeah.
of the other ones have too, but we
Yeah.
appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, and same here. I mean, everything you said, I kind of feel the same way as far as all the people who checked in every other week. And if they can't watch it live, sometimes they go back on the playback and watch it then. And like we said, there's all kind of TV shows, all kind of movies, Netflix, all kind of things that these people could be participating in. But they said, I'll stick this out with these two brothers for an hour or so and give our 2 cents. And once again, we really appreciate everybody that's checking in. No, sometimes it's not the big issues that divide us, it's the small differences that we refuse to respect. And some of these are pretty simple, like lifestyle choices, the environment. As far as our lifestyle, for example, I may be a drinker, you may not be, and because you're not a drinker, I'm dogging you out. Oh, you ain't got no six pack. Oh, brother, you lame, and you need to get with the program. It's not about that, but these are small issues. Another issue that I think is small, and I said this before, is these political issues. Brother, a lot of us will really, really, really get frustrated with each other because you got a Republican t-shirt on, I may be a Democrat, or vice versa. It's like we cannot agree to disagree. And some of these small differences, such as political views and lifestyle choices, really, really separate us. I really believe that.
It's the small things it says here. It's not the big issues that divide us. It's the small things like you just mentioned. It's the baby things that we fall out over. It's because you didn't speak to me yesterday when I waved at you, even though you didn't see me, but because I'm stuck in my own ways, I'm angry and therefore I don't want to speak to you, or I'm going to do a podcast about you for about an hour talking about how rotten you are. It's the small things, Chaz. And
Right.
when you get to a certain age, and I don't want to sound like I'm condescending because we all still working on ourselves, but it's those little things that normally trip us up. It's not the big things. How
Yeah.
you wear your hair, how you speak, how you look, what you said. These are the
What
things that
kind of
stop
car you
us.
drive?
Yeah, what you believe, what others believe, how you think about life. It's your philosophy. We have some serious problems, and this is an indication that we have problems because a lot of people don't want to hear what we have to say. They don't want to
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah, they don't. And like you said, these are things that you would think middle or elementary kids would be arguing about. Like we said, the shoe brand, the clothing, the car. This is stuff that when you really think about it, when you really sit back and contemplate and say, what are we talking about here? Someone's shoe brand and all this. This is really foolish. But brother, a lot of us, I think a lot of us, like you said earlier, we're empty. So sometimes we look forward to attack these people in these little ways because it gives us something to talk about and it makes us feel better about
And
ourselves.
Chaz, it's about these mind wars. No, that's what it is. It's a mind war. And you and I, and another young lady, God bless, we did a song called Mind War. And,
Yeah.
and it just speaks to the heart of how our minds have been infiltrated. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that people need to really listen to when it comes to those words, those concepts, the music, because it really tells where we are today.
You want me to go ahead and drop that now?
Yeah, well, you might as well do it.
Okay, here we go.
We are now engaged in mind war. The subjects, coloreds, blacks, African Americans, so-called Negroes. Drop a bomb right here.
This battle began in the womb. It lasts all the way to your tomb. If you don't know this, you're doomed. The mind has been hit.
Drop another bomb.
Boom. Mind war happens in your brain. Deep this, let us explain. We're gonna make this thing plain. They took yours and gave you a slave name. From birth indoctrinated, trained and miseducated. You've assimilated it, now owned and dominated. Consciousness held hostage, real values in bondage. Oh, the damage, the carnage, the results, all hatred.
This mind war is going directly as organized. Release a high volume of artillery now. Keep them dependent upon us. Deceive them with political parties and history. Drop another bomb.
Working against your interests, you made others sufficient. You're wounded and incoherent. Can we free you? Don't get indignant. You wanna be so hardcore, but allow others to keep you poor. Your new conquistadors train you to fight no more. Oh yes, you're right, you're a victim, for you've laid down for this system. See, you love individualism, but don't care about nationalism. Oh, I bet you do, but not yours. You've been brainwashed to ignore. You let out a loud roar, but no teeth, prisoners of mind war.
Mission accomplished. The vast majority of casualties occurred during our all-out mind assault. Right now, we have the power to make them do and think as we want. No resistance will be further displayed, I assure you. Docility has been implemented, and ignorance will run its course, just as planned.
Yes, Captain. There's a few more of them out there, but don't worry. We'll get them. It's just a matter of time.
Yes.
I'll take them.
And now a woman says, sir, German true sisters know that self. Don't let them play you for a fool. Most of my people don't even really have a clue. Many walking around the range like their screws have been loose. Listen, this is a war, and it ain't no joke. They done messed up the mental process of my folk. Deceived and confused are my folks. Led by exploited sites that choke and die broke. And now a woman says, sir, German truth. I'm in love with my brown skin. I don't wanna be used. Even though I'm being haunted, America's most wanted. The front line of prey, just a regular day. Middle and upper class, so you think you've escaped. You are in a deck of cards where every card gets played. Nah, it won't be long before you're being replaced. Get out of line and feel the wrath of America's rage. Soldier cries, keep fighting this mind war. And like we informed before. Till death we will never ignore. On to the end.
Black woman, mind war.
All subjects have been annihilated.
No, just the Negroes. We, conscious community, stand in total unity. Queen G told y'all before, they ain't playing. This is mind war.
All right, y'all. That was a song that we did. And Sister Job bless. I'm energized now, brother. I don't know why
Those words, man, those words are speaking volumes to what we're saying about these barriers.
Yeah.
People are controlling our minds, and we're arguing about what color socks you have on as opposed to the color socks that I have on. And this
Yeah.
is why people don't like to comment, because sometimes, Chaz, the truth hits and it cuts so hard. All
Yeah.
you can do is sit back and just accept it. But it's a problem, man, and we should never allow disagreements to turn into long-term divisions. But we have though.
Yep. And speaking of comments, I've been sitting on them here. I'm getting a little bagged up, but let's go ahead and get some of our viewers in here. Let's see here. Brother Raymond fires in here. He says, I appreciate you all too, and the people in the feed. Good comment, bro. Good comment. He also says the problem is we focus on our differences and overlook what is important. That is what we have in common. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of us, like we keep mentioning, the things that are important, we overlook. But like we keep mentioning, the things that are small, juvenile, inconvenient, things that don't really matter when you really look at it from a big perspective, it means nothing. And we're focused on the wrong things. Brother Ray fires in again. He says, mind is spiritual battle. I agree with that. Sister Mashonda, she said, that's my jam with an exclamation mark. So I guess she's energized too. Brother Ray fires in here. He says, gotta be locking and popping. And then Sister Barbara fires in here. She said, no, BB, that's my song. Okay, so they fight. They both are bumping that song a lot. We appreciate you guys for really digging the song. We really do. Letter J. So-called educational, belittling, looking down or looking up to someone who is deemed smart or intelligent. And you see this a lot in these colleges. For example, I go to Stanford, you went to a little bitty school in Delaware, or I went to Yale, you went to a little bitty school in Idaho. And because I find out that you went to Idaho, I'm slamming you, I'm mocking you, I'm making you look bad, I'm putting you on blast on social media. Because I went to a prestige college, that all that really matters is that you go to college, hopefully you pay your dues and you study hard and you get your degree. But brother, because I go to Yale or Stanford, all these schools, and I look down on you, this is sickening and it's insane about that.
And this is what it teaches us. It teaches us that you have been miseducated. Because most of us that go to these schools, we come out and we're miseducated because we don't care about our people. We're not looking at how we can build together. So we take whatever we get and we try to use it against those that look like us. So a lot of this stuff that we call education is really miseducating. But because of a name, like you said, oh, I went to Harvard. We feel good about that because we've been taught that that's a prestigious school, when basically it goes back to the video where you've been brainwashed. But because you think you went to a school with a lot of people who don't look like you, that you're better than people. And so you're trying to put your status over your educational status and your educational appearance over other people. And this is really a barrier that has crippled us. And because a lot of us, it's not about the school that we go to, it's about what do we do to help our people regardless of where we go. What do we do to help get our people out of poverty, stopping the police brutality, stopping all the black on black crime? What are we going to do about owning grocery stores and trying to go into business? What are we going to do about supporting one another? If we're not doing that, we've been miseducated. So this is why we have to bring this out like that.
Yeah, and another frustrating part I would say is this too. You see on the news and you see on these YouTube videos, a lot of studies are coming out for the last decade. A lot of these people who went to these schools that got all these degrees and bachelors and masters, they're graduating, but brother, when they come out, they can't find a job. A lot of people are frustrated about that. Now, I don't know if I should be angry at the system or these colleges, but I don't know the percentage. I should have looked it up, but a lot of people are saying that they spent 4 or 5 years at these colleges, and now they can't get hired, they can't get a job, and the degree that they have is basically for nothing. So this is another big problem that I have with these colleges too, that, they waste and spend all that time there, and then they come out and they can't get anything. That's terrible for society, I would say. Barrier K, regional differences, north, south, east, west, city versus country. I'll let you take that and then I'll piggyback off of it.
Yeah, because people are born, all of us are born in different places.
Yeah.
People that are born in the South sometimes think they're better than the people that live in the North. When a
Mhm.
person from the North comes to the South, the people in the South deem this person nothing because
Mm.
they're not the same, and vice
Wow.
versa. Because the way we talk, even the people that that live on the East Coast, they talk different than the
Yeah.
people that live on the West Coast. And
Hmm.
so what we do is we're having nothing but these rivalries, and it's really nonsensical. Oh yeah, dog, you know what I'm saying? I'm from the South, man. Y'all don't get down like that. You know what I'm saying? And then the people up north, well, it's not about that. It's about this and that. And then the people from the West Coast, yeah, I got the slicky ricky on it. It's we all these differences, man.
Yeah.
I live in the city, and I'm a city slicker. Man, I
Yeah.
can't mess with y'all boys in the country. And the country boys, well, we country boys, we African Americans, but we country, but we don't fool with them city slickers. This is a problem right here. It's a
Yeah.
barrier because we're all catching the same oppression. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you're from, but we let these different regional differences, we let them get to us. Man, I'm from Chi-Town. We some slick guys. What
Yeah.
does that mean when you go down south? That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further. There's a thing called the Taste of New Orleans or something like that, where every year in Louisiana, a whole bunch of people from New York, LA, all these states, they fly to Louisiana and they have all kind of food, festivals, people dancing in the middle of the streets, loud music, parades, all kind of stuff in the state of Louisiana. But the point is, these people in Louisiana, they get on the news, and you should see them the loud fat mouthing, the chest thumping. They think that they're better than. They really think that this is the best place in the United States. That at this time of year, if you ain't here, you ain't popping and all that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
my thing
yeah.
is, it's okay to have joy in what you do, but when you're bragging and taking it overboard, especially in that Taste of New Orleans, that thing is off the chain every year whenever they have it, and it's really bad. And that's the biggest thing I could match up with this here. That's on the screen here. We got another comment. Brother Ray, we're going to get to this. He says the Willie Lynch defines Anglo-Saxon pecking order. Hold that thought, brother, because that's literally on our notes, and we're going to talk about that in a few, but we still appreciate you for logging on. Barrier L. Personality differences. Everyone isn't you, and vice versa. Quit hating on others because they don't think or act like you. Yeah, and once again, and I keep bringing this up, but I gotta keep hammering this point home because I'm using this for example. I'm a diehard Kennedy guy. You may be a Joe Biden guy or what have you, or a Trump guy. Everybody's not gonna think like me. There's some people who can't stand Kennedy, but the point is that I'm trying to hit home here is that I have my own opinion. You have your own. Let's just agree to disagree, but don't take it to the fact that, like I said, I'm not speaking to you no more. I'm not coming over your house. We're not communicating. In fact, I tell you when I find out you're a Biden guy or a Trump or whoever, lose my number, bruh. This is over with, and this is what I feel that's really, really a big problem in society.
It is because our personality talks about who we are. Ever since we were children, we develop these personalities. Some of us been through a lot. Some of us been through much more than a lot. Some of us haven't been through as much as others have been through. But what has happened in that is it has created personalities in all of us. You like certain things. I don't like certain things. You want certain things. I don't want certain things. I want certain things. You don't want certain things. You talk a certain way. I don't talk that way. You act a certain way. I don't act a certain way. You may be a little bit more savvy when it comes to knowledge, whereas I'm not. I may be more of a comedian than you're not. These differences, man, we want everyone to be like us. And if you notice, when we critique people, normally when we criticize people, this barrier here of personality differences,
Yeah.
it all boils down to we want everyone in the world to be like us. We really do. That's
Mm.
why we argue with people. If you think a different way from a spiritual perspective and someone else, they want you to think that they know more than you, that they got a corner on truth, and that everybody should think about what they're saying, and they were here when the beginning of time, and we're all ignorant. We're
Yep.
all ignorant, but we don't want to say that because we've been told that my personality is a personality of charm. So now I'm walking around here thinking I'm some Casanova, you know, everybody's gonna like me. I can charm people with my words. This is a problem, man. And it's like a lot of us don't want to work on these personalities. And that's why a lot of us are the way we are, even our children. And I hate to say that. We've taught our children to be the very same way that we are because they've seen us model this all these years. And when they grow up and become adults, they do the very same thing.
Absolutely. Barrier M, allowing our past failures or success to keep us in yesteryear. Move on. That was then. This is now. Yeah, and I have to and let me be honest here, okay? A lot of us who have suffered from things that happened to us as a child, for example, it could have been neglect, abuse, what have you. Those are terrible tragedies, things that I don't wish on anybody. If you've been, sexually molested or what have you, that was terrible. But the problem is we don't move on from that. We still walk around and act like that happened yesterday. We don't forgive our parents for that. We don't forgive our grandfathers or grandmothers. Whoever has abused or molested us. Now, once again, I want to be clear here. I don't like what that happened. I don't wish that upon no one. Those are terrible things. But the fact that we keep dwelling upon it, and with the fact that we don't forgive that individual and we go on and on to make them feel bad whenever we get a chance to see them or talk to them, I think that's a terrible thing as well.
I'm gonna take it in another direction. I'm gonna take it in another direction. When I was a young boy, about 10 years old, there was a song that I heard a lot of people sing. A lot of adults kept this little tune, and it was a guy named Tyrone Davis. He was a legendary African American soul and R&B singer. He was known for his smooth and his emotional delivery, but he had a song, Chazz, that everyone sung, and I never understood it, but it had something to do with he didn't want to move on. And the name of the song was If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time. And this was his biggest hit. It reached number one in the R&B, and it also hit the top 5 on the billboards. And those who are older may have heard this, but it was a song that he was in a relationship, and I guess he left the relationship, and he wished he hadn't left it. And I'm not going to try to sing it, but it went something like this. Doom, 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 doom. He said, "Oh, darling, doom, 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 doom. I'm so lonely without you. Doom, 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 doom." He said, "Can't sleep at night. Doom, 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 doom. Always thinking about you. Doom, 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 doom." Then he said, "And if I had the chance to start all over, I wouldn't be wishing today on a 4-leaf clover. And leaving would be the last thing on my mind if I could turn back the hands." In the background says, "If I could turn back the hands of." See, this is the stuff that I'm telling you. You can't turn back the hands of time. You don't even try it. I hear guys say this a lot when they see a lady that's in her 20s and they're in their 70s or 60s. If I could turn back the hands of time, you're not gonna turn. You're broke down. You just keep moving, keep going. It ain't about all of that, man. But we want to turn back the hands of time, and we don't want to let our past go. You are too old as an 80-year-old man to be wearing a tall tee and your chest out and hair coming out. We don't need to see that, man. Let it go and move on and keep moving towards the future and making your life the best you can be instead of living in the past, because that's exactly what we want to turn back the hands of time. And I had to give you that rendition because I heard many of my family members would always sing that "If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time" by Tyrone Davis. You can't turn back the hands of time. Leave it alone.
Yeah, and I see that here sometimes as well, where you're out and about and you're, going shopping, what have you. And a lot of these elders, like in their 60s or 50s, they got these loud systems in their car. You can hear them way down the block. And then when they get out, you think it's a younger guy, but it's an elder, like you said. They're looking at you, smiling and giving you a head up and all that. And it's like you said, they're stuck in these old phases that need to be stopped and they need to be broken. I totally agree with you on that. Brother Ray Fires in here. He says, mainstream Americans focus on our differences so much, they must pass laws for them to stop discriminating against us, even our own hair. Yeah, I've seen some stuff on the news about that, where some of these kids were in 5th and 6th grade because they had braids. A lot of the teachers are saying, look, with that hairstyle, you can't come in this classroom. And the parents were getting angry going to these schools, trying to justify the discrimination, saying, why are you picking on my son or daughter because of that? So I
And
agree.
yeah, I want to add to that because Brother Ray. He's playing one side of the album. I want to flip the album over and play the other side because he's right about that. So I have nothing to say about what he commented. He's absolutely right. But let's flip the album over and let's talk about this. What about us that do that to each other? See, this is the part that we don't like to talk about. Yes, the system does that to us. It's designed to do that to us. But what about us who tease each other, who talks about each other's hair, who talks about how we look, who talks about each other's clothes, who talks about where we live, who talks about somebody's mama, who talks about somebody's daddy, who talks about our financial situation, who talks about, see, these are the things that I'm saying, Chaz, we got to come to grips with. And so we basically have given you the whole album. Brother Ray has given you one side of the album. I'm giving you the other side of the album, and we got to stop this because we're doing the very thing that we say the system has done to us, and we should know better by now. Talking
Yeah.
about somebody's glasses, talking about how somebody's built, talking about somebody's house. We do these things. We do these things. Talking about somebody's car. We done gotten so bad. We are talking about somebody's dog, man.
Yeah, and it's been like that since we were in school. We were, Joan on each other, and that has not left us since, like I said, fourth and fifth grade. We had that pattern, we had that issue, and now since we grow old, we're still doing that, and that's a terrible thing. Sister Barbara, she's giving me a thumbs up with your singing ability. She says Tyrone Davis. Brother Ray said that that's his jam when he was bumping. Sister Machada's laughing, so you
They
need
crazy.
to get this brother a record deal. Brother Ray says, Jai, your voice is a little pitchy. He's loving that. Sister Barbara says, saying that it, Tal, but keep your day job.
Yeah, these guys crazy, man. They crazy. But I love them all because we have fun with this broadcast. But the point of the matter is, we got to let that go, Chaz. We really do.
Yeah. And the last comment we got from Brother Ray, he says, exactly those of us who are colonized minded discriminate, emulating the Europeans. Yeah, a lot of us, and I hate to go down this road, but a lot of our African American sisters, the queens as they call themselves, they're going out getting contacts. Now, we know you black as a doggone screen. You're getting contacts that are hazel or blue or green, these eyes, and the yellow and gold and blonde hair. Now, look, if y'all want to do that, free will, that's your choice. But like he's saying, when you're emulating that as a black woman getting green or blue contacts when that's not your eye color, or that hair down your back that's gold or yellow, that is portraying the European woman. And that's what he's getting at here. As I go ahead and move forward to the next point. There are regional differences, but that shouldn't divide us. And some of these regional differences could be cultural traditions, food and economic variations, and in wealth. And I keep going back to the wealth because, brother, a lot of us in some of these regional differences, because a brother or family has a couple of dollars, we let that, like we said on the screen, we let that divide us. I really think in my heart, because I may make hypothetically $150,000 a year, that my side of town and my family are doing better than yours, so you may make 40 or 50K or what have you. That wealth difference is something that I gotta keep hitting on because a lot of us are walking around thinking that we're that.
Yeah, and it's sad that we're at this point and state in our lives now. And I always go back to this, and I'm not going to get off of it. We have had so much happen to us as a people. And sometimes it seems like we don't learn from the past. We don't learn from the past.
Yeah.
We let the past dictate to us what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
These barriers that we're talking about, they should not exist amongst us based upon what we've had to go through. We should tear these barriers down and say, I don't care if you are from the South and I'm from the North, or someone's from the East, someone's from the West. We need to pool our resources and our minds together and see how can we help a people who's not only divided, but who's basically lost their minds. These mothers, these grandmothers, these fathers, these grandfathers, these aunts, these uncles, these sisters, these brothers. If you just sit back and look at how we are today, many of us have lost our minds, Chaz. And people think it's funny, but it's true. We have lost our minds, man. We don't even know how to sit down and have this kind of discussion. But if we put something on that's got us shaking our backside, or something that got us half naked, or we using vulgar language, then this is the stuff that sells. But these are barriers that keep us. And I want to say this and turn it back over to you.
Okay.
Our comedians, our athletes, our entertainers, they have turned social media, many of them, not all of them, they've turned this into basically something it shouldn't be.
What you mean?
They're beefing against each other. That's the
Okay.
barrier. They used, like, say, Nas and another guy used to be in a band together. And so they
Mhm.
separate. Now this guy's doing videos about Nas, and now Nas doing videos about him. And it's like then these sports people, Jason Whitlock, he's angry with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is angry with Jason Whitlock. This stuff has got to stop, man. This is childish, man. It's
Yeah.
very childish. And then you want to get on here, they do, and tell us how to live when you're showing a poor example. We
Yeah.
should be, I don't care what we believe or think, we should be working together. And these differences are really stopping us, man. And someone's got to say this. Someone has to say this.
Yeah, and a lot of it, like you said, brother, I'll just touch on your quick point real quick on the social media aspect. A lot of it, we're gonna have to start learning how to filter out. Basically, like you said, when we see some of these videos, you see them hollering, going back and forth, we're gonna have to learn to scroll past it, because I would think that's probably 60 or 70% of YouTube here when I'm on it. It's all kind of content creators going back and forth. And some of this stuff, I think, and I hate to keep saying it's a boogeyman, but I think some of it, they're doing it to get more views and get more publicity. But some of it is real. People really don't like each other and they want to find out where people live, to do a drive-by and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of this stuff on social media, like I said, we have to train our mind and our eyes to basically look past that.
Let me ask you a question, Chaz, before you go to the next comment. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If I went on social media and I saw 2 10-year-olds doing that, you make me sick. Oh, no, you make me sick. I would say, okay, those are kids, man. Okay. Don't ever come over to my house again. I don't want to play with you. Give me back my ball and don't ever speak to me. I expect that out of kids.
Yeah.
But a 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-year-old man or woman doing this, Chaz,
Yeah.
come on, man. You got to tell me what is going on. Why do you think this is happening? And I know you gave me some insight just a few seconds ago, but when a kid or teenager does it, I'm okay with it because they're growing, they haven't learned. But a person who always, they say they've been there, done that, but they haven't learned from it. So 2 men like you and I, we're talking now. Let's say you make me angry, and then we don't have our broadcast anymore. So next month, I'm going to start a new broadcast by myself. You're going to start a new broadcast by yourself. My first broadcast going to be about you. I never did like working with that guy anyway. He was no good, man. I held the show down. He just came in. See, this is some stupid. And then you're going to do a broadcast that next week. Oh, I didn't stand that. I couldn't stand him anyway. Y'all know he just ran his mouth. But I don't understand that, Chaz. And maybe I need to grow up myself, because I would think that after a certain point, as adults, we shouldn't have that mindset. But most of us are like that.
Yeah, and I would agree. It's like a high school mentality into, like we mentioned earlier, a lot of us that are empty, we go on these social media sites because we want people to look up, even though it's a negative way, even though it's a negative view of us, we want people to look at us like, you know what, Ja, that video you did on such and such, you told him off. And now, because you did that, people are now in your inbox, people are now commenting, people are now saying that you're the man and this and that. This is where society is going. And like I said, even though it shouldn't be that way, but a lot of us are getting on social media acting like that, is because like we said earlier, number one, we're lonely, and number two, we want people to applaud and give us credit. We got a couple new comments. Brother Ray Fires in here. He says, no, I already read that one. He says FBA versus the black immigrants.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, we got the other one too. The descendants of those descendants of slaves against it. We gotta stop. We should know better. But see, a person like you and I, when we say, "Hold on, guys, hold on, ladies, let's pump our brakes. Let's cut this stuff out." No, we can have our differences, but let's work together. Then we become the bad guys because we're trying to police the area. So now they're all turning their anger towards us. It's like, well, we have lost it. We have lost it, man.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further. Like you said, with the FBA versus the immigrants, some of them, and I'm seeing this a lot, the Hebrew Israelite community versus the regular Christians. You know, a lot of this is, like I said, brother, this is everywhere. And this has really been taking off a lot on my YouTube feed. And some of it, I have to duck past it. Some of the Hebrew Israelites have some truth, but some of this, like I said, is foolishness on the street corners, hollering with all this purple gear on with these microphones, all these dudes next to them and all that. You know, this stuff has got to stop, man. It really does. As we go ahead and move on to the next one here. Barrier in jealousy, feeling upset when someone else is doing well. And that is, you know, a lot of people, they got a new job promotion, they got a new vehicle, they got a new home, they got a new bike, whatever. And instead of saying, you know what, I got a phone call from Brother Chris, and this brother just got a pay raise. He is doing well now. He's got a new job and whatever. The first thing, like I said, we may not outright say it, but in our heart, we're angry at Chris for that upgrade. We hope something happens to him. And like I said, brother, here's the thing. Just because we don't say it out loud or, you know, broadcast it, some of us in our own hearts, brother, we're hoping for his downfall. We're hoping that something happens to him because his brother has progressed.
Yeah, and the thing of it is you can look at it from the standpoint of, I can tell when a person hates on another person or they're jealous, they won't support them. They're not going to support them. They'll say what they want to say, but when it comes to support, they're not going to support that person that they're jealous. They'll just talk about them, or they'll say different things that's just mean-spirited, but they're not going to support them. And again, we're so far off from the truth as a group of people that it's not funny anymore. We as a people, we seem to have been going backwards. And no one's perfect. And of course, we have people that are doing right. And to those, I applaud you, who's working on themselves, who's not in everyone's business, who's trying to make sure that as a unit, we can come together and do some positive. Those people, I applaud you. But we have too many that's not like that, who sit out in the streets waiting for somebody to fall so we can stomp on them or laugh at them or drag them in the mud and talk about them. You know, it's too much of that, Chazz. And it's, again, we got to be able to identify these barriers and then say we need to do something about them.
And my question is, what's wrong with being happy when someone is doing well? I mean, just because, like I said, I may be in a bad spot and the person that got good news or got a promotion, I should be happy. I mean, what's wrong with actually being happy for others? That's and like I said earlier, we may not always say it out loud, but in our hearts, we hoping, like you said, for them to fall out, for something bad to happen, so we can rejoice in our heart and say, I'm glad that happened to him or her because I never liked them anyway.
I think we're going to have to do a broadcast. It just came on me because I won't let it go. Maybe one day coming up here within the next month or two, we need to do a broadcast on character. We've got to do one on character because character talks about who you are. It defines you. And some of our character is askew. It is so messed up, man. Because as a kid, we never learned how to treat people the right way. Now that we're adults, we're doing the same thing. We're still liars. We're still cheats. We're still procrastinators. You know, we're still people that envy another. We're still people that don't support positiveness in the community. We don't do any. So character is, what are you made of? It's not what's on the outside of the box of cereal. It's what's on the inside. Because the outside of the box, they're going to make it look fluffy. It's going to look beautiful, very pulchritudinous. And we're going to look at that and say, this is a good box. But when you pour it in the bowl and you start eating, you're going to say, this is some nasty stuff. That's how many of us are. On the outside, we look okay, and we want people to think we're smart. But on the inside, we got some nasty stuff that we never dealt with, and that's why we become the people that we have turned into.
We got a couple more comments before we wrap it up. Brother Ray, he laughs. He says, the black Hebrew Israelites with the purple He-Man outfits. Yeah, they be wearing that stuff still, man. I see it all the time. He also says, yes, the 60s and 70s, post-discrimination is better than the year of 2026 as far as black progress. Wow.
Yeah, because we didn't critique each other the way we do now. We still did, so we're not going to paint a picture and romanticize the 60s and 70s like there was no issues then. It was. But it wasn't as blatant as he's saying. It wasn't as blatant as it is today. Every time you turn on your TV, somebody's getting slapped or somebody's got something done to them or somebody and these are people that have money. Just think about those of us who don't have money. If
Yeah.
those people are acting like that, and we say that that should help them because they have money, they don't have to worry about anything, but they're empty inside, you see. And
Yeah.
that's the problem right there. Many of
Yeah.
them are.
Yeah. Well said. And he has one more comment. He says, that I ain't eating foolishness. Okay. So I guess he's talking about the cereal analogy as well. But we got another one here. This one is a tough one. Barrier O, a lack of forgiveness. Now, we talked about that earlier. You got to learn how to forgive. If they've done you wrong, that is terrible. I feel sorry for you. That is not nothing that I am happy about. But we got to learn to forgive. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, whenever these things happen, you have to learn to forgive, because here's the thing here. That person that did that to you, 9 times out of 10, they not thinking about you. They on to their own life, doing their own thing with their own family. And for you to bump into them in public or wherever, at the movies or at the mall, wherever, those people aren't really thinking about that stuff like you are. So you need to learn how to say, you know what? They did this to me. I was molested or what have you. But I have to let this go, because 9 times out of 10, the person, and I hate saying this here because I want to make sure I'm clear, that person that did that to you, bruh, 9 times out of 10, they not thinking about that stuff no more. Even though it's bad, they're not.
You know what really surprises me about, and I don't want to get on a soapbox, but I'm going to hit it and keep going. It really surprises me. Many people believe in some kind of deity, regardless of what they believe, this deity, and they teach forgiveness. Whether you're a Christian, Muslim, an atheist, spiritualist, all those books and ideas have something about forgiveness.
Yeah.
But yet we don't do it though. But we sing about it. We talk about it. We
Yeah.
even pray, forgive me for this and that and the other. But yet many of us don't even understand what that means. Now, we didn't say that when something happens to us that we should forget it. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. They're thinking that we're saying you should forget something that happened to you that was traumatic. We're not saying that you will forget it. We're saying don't allow that to stifle you to where you cannot become the best person that you should be, because every time you look around and you want to take 2 steps forward, you go back because you got this thing that's eating at you that you never dealt with. So these are the barriers that a lot of times, Chaz, we don't like to talk about. And again, we talk about all these different aspects of life. These are just principles to try to help people live, man,
Yeah.
regardless of what we do. I know I gave the illustration of cereal. I don't care what people eat. Maybe it's something else. It doesn't have to be cereal. It can
Yeah.
be anything. Some people don't do that. I'm saying that whatever it is on the outside, it looks good. But on
Yeah.
the inside, it's not as good. I don't care what meat, I don't care what vegetable. Some of the things that looks good as fruit, it looks good on the outside. But when you bite into it, it's not good. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Not so much that you should eat this or you should eat that. The point I'm trying to make is in this world, man, there are things that look good on the outside. That's the point I'm making, but it's not always good on the inside, and that's how we are as people. But yet we miss the point because we're looking at what that thing is as opposed to the illustration that someone is trying to bring out.
And I'll hit it home with this good illustration. And then we got one more point and we'll go to our comments and we'll wrap it up. But this is a good illustration for those, and I'm not knocking these people who income is a little tight. They don't have that much money, but they need a vehicle. They go to these car lots, these used car lots. The car that they're looking at on the outside, a nice paint job, beautiful tint, beautiful rims on the car, but the transmission is blown out. But see, the thing, like we were saying here, on the outside, that thing is shining. It is sharp. The rims, the color, all of it looks good on the outside. But when you put your foot in that car and on that gas pedal, you're not going nowhere because the transmission is blown out. That's the point that we're getting at here. Stop judging everything on the outside and look on the inside. Now, our last one here. Now, this is a good one. Barrier P, the Willie Lynch syndrome. Now, the Willie Lynch syndrome, this was a terrible thing that happened. This was a divide and conquer tactic. They used the light skin versus dark skin, which we talked about earlier. They also talked about psychological manipulation, family disruption. And this point here, I really want to get home. The family disruption, this method includes destroying the traditional family structure and role of the male to the foster dependency. Brother, that's still happening right now. There are a lot of so-called feminists in this society who are, they can't see this, and I don't know how many times this needs to be talked about, but they're going to school, getting this education, getting these college degrees, treating these men like garbage, feeling like they're better than, and all this is a play by the government and society to remove the man from the home, but the women are married to the state, aka the government, aka all these branches, and they're getting these food stamps and all these things. They're married to the government, but they don't see all this is designed to take the man away from the house. Now, I said all that to tie that up with the Willie Lynch syndrome, because that happened then. Back then, of course, it's not like now today, but the point is they were trying to get the man out of the home, but I guess the people were too naive and they couldn't see it. You got
Yeah, and let me take that further. The Willie Lynch syndrome. Those who haven't read this yet, Google the Willie Lynch letter. Apparently, now some people don't believe that the letter is real or not. It was fictitious. My point is, it doesn't matter whether it's real or not. It's what's in that letter that's still going on today. In 1712, a gentleman from the West Indies came to the United States because they were having issues with those who were enslaved, and he basically wrote a letter to those who were so-called masters over those who were enslaved, how to keep these people divided. And that's what he did. He talked about barriers. He talked about age, skin tone, gender, physical strength, intelligence. He talked about status. He talked about role. He talked about economics. He talked about position, education. He says you get the young men against the old men. And that's how you get the barriers to do what they do. You get the light skinned against the dark skinned. You get the male against the female. We talked about that last week, how a lot of brothers and sisters is going at it. You get the strong against the weak. You get the intelligent against the less intelligent. You get the house slave against the field slave. You get the privileged against the oppressed. You get the favored against the unfavored. And finally, you get the educated against the uneducated. So this particular information, again, I'm not here to argue whether it's true or not. I don't have time for that. What I do have time for is what's in that letter, whether it was written or not, is going on right now. And those are the barriers that you and I are talking about. So we can't get bogged down with all the details of some things that we don't know. But what we do know is these barriers are still going on today. And we got to be able to recognize them and then do something about the barriers.
Well said. Brother Ray Fires in here. Got a couple more comments. He says, jealousy and envy do keep us divided as black people. Yeah, brother. And it seems like it's not going anywhere. It's been like that since the 60s, 50s, and probably earlier. And it's still like that today. It feels like it's even worse today. All this jealousy and envy that we seem to not be able to get out of our system. He also says, move past being a victim. Absolutely. You got to let that go. Think about it. But you can't harp on that for years and decades upon decades. You got to pull yourself up, as they say. Sister Barbara Fires in here. She says, when it comes to forgiveness, it has to come from within. I'm proud to say that I can't and I don't harbor on forgiveness. And I have a word of gratitude about no matter what the issue is or was. That's good, though. She's saying that, you know what? I'm not going to harp on it. I have to move past this thing, and I'm going to have gratitude about the whole situation. And she's not going to keep dwelling on it as well. She has a forgiveness from within, and that's something that you can't really teach. It's something that has to be within you already. And then Brother Ray Fires in here. He says that the Willie Lynch letter describes the Anglo-Saxons' social pecking order to construct the letter.
Yeah, and it also describes how many of us are today. Yeah. See, and I'm agreeing with Brother Ray when he says that. All I'm saying, y'all, is we got to look a little bit deeper into these things that we're talking about. We know what is going on. Every last one of us know the system and how it's been constructed. We know that. Yeah. What I'm talking about is we are allowing the very things that we know are detrimental to us to destroy us. That's where you talk about personal accountability. See, we don't want to talk about personal accountability because we want to blame, and we should. We have all the blame in the world. Nobody's going to get away with what they've done. We've got to always blame it. But at what point are we going to flip the script and start saying, I'm not going to be that way because this is what people taught me. See, this is the part we don't want to have, and we need to do a broadcast about that. When are we
Yeah,
going to start turning inwardly on us to say, this is our problem now? This is
yeah,
they're going to do this until we die. When we leave this earth for eons, white supremacy is still going to do what it does. My challenge to us is, when are we going to do something to make sure that we don't be affected by it instead of just talking about it? Because that's the side of the coin that a lot of us don't like to flip. So I agree with Brother Ray on that side. All I'm saying is, y'all, we got to continue to look at some of the things that we're doing based upon what they taught us and deal with those things.
yep. And then he also said some blacks had a European mentality, and I'll take that a step further. That's now, a lot of us, instead of working together, we could see our brothers and sisters in a terrible spot. I believe um, Harriet Tubman had this situation where she was trying to help people, but because the people that she was trying to help had a European mentality, they turned on their sister. You still see that to today. A lot of us black people do have a European mentality. We think white, we dress white, we try to act white. Nothing against our European brothers and sisters, but there has to become a time to where you think for yourself, you operate for yourself, and quit looking up to them to be the end all be all, like they're just better. They're just people just like you and I. And as quiet as it's kept, a lot of us who dominate these music and sports entertainment and all that, it's normally us. So I don't know what the obsession is with the European. Go ahead, bro.
Let me take it a step further. You guys are giving me so much, and I appreciate it, because here's my thing. Harriet Tubman, those people that she couldn't help because they didn't want help, she moved on. Some black people have a European mentality. Move on. We're not trying to change everybody. Keep moving, because you're not going to change these people's mindset. So to the ones that have a European mentality, if that's what they want to do, leave them alone and let them do it. But what are we going to do? See, and this is why people don't want to hear what I have to say, because I'm interested in, how do we take what's on this screen now and use it for our benefit? In other words, if these black people have a European mentality, and they do, many of us do, I don't have time for that. I'm not going to change them. What I am going to do is find people who are like myself and yourself and the viewers who say, hey, let's work together. Those are the people I'm interested in. I don't care about that other stuff. I'm not going to spend all my day complaining about other people and what these people are not doing. I don't care about that. I can't stop all of that. So I'm saying, let's quit that. Let's expose it like he says. This is true. We can't ignore it though. But now what are we going to do? I'm going to leave those people alone and let them keep that mentality, because they're not going to listen to me anyway. So I'm going to move on down the road. I'm not going to just keep saying what other people are doing. That doesn't make sense to me, man. It's like we're stuck, not Brother Ray. But I mean, a lot of us are stuck because that's all we do is, this is that, this is other people. This is other people. What about you and I? When are we going to talk about us, man? That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, it looks like we done ran out. In fact, we done went into overtime, 5 minutes of overtime, and that's all good. We get like that. We get carried away when you guys comment. You guys are energized. We really appreciate everybody who tuned in today. This is a powerful broadcast, and as it says on the screen, we talked about the barriers that divide us, the skin tones, the money, where we went to college for us who went to college, the side of town that we live on, our education, all these things. When you really think about it in a bigger perspective, it's frivolous. It really means nothing. And we need to be worried about bigger things instead of letting, like I said, money and the side of town that we live on, all these things that really tear us apart so quickly, instantly. We need to stop letting this stuff get to us. And that was pretty much all I had to say for my ending. You got anything else you got to give out?
Yeah, I just want to say this broadcast can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, 7 o'clock Eastern. So I thank those who tune in and watch this broadcast. And we always try to talk about subjects that affect us. And we always try to take comments that's going to help us. So I just want you all to continue to research, continue to study, continue to work on yourself, continue to work on your family, continue to work on your character, continue to work on your own peace, continue to just know that this world is going to always have things that happen that's going to be good, bad, and indifferent. But we have to maintain through it all, y'all, because we're living in a time where it's just everything is just upside down. So if we can just maintain ourselves, at least ourselves and our families, then we're on the right track, because we're not going to affect everyone. We're not going to win everyone over. People are not going to listen to us. So let's just talk to those who are willing to listen and that we're willing to listen to, because that's how our ancestors did. There were many positive people. They didn't try to save everybody. They didn't just always talk about people. They did things to help so that you and I could have this broadcast today. And those are the ones that I'm grateful for.
Absolutely. And that Sister Mashonda fires in here before we get out of here and skedaddle. She says, Shimotep, we appreciate you for logging in as well. And if you guys have not seen this, you were at work, you had something to do, that's fine. Watch it on the playback. Leave a comment. We'll be more than happy to still see the comment after you've watched it if you couldn't catch us live. We hope to see you. I hope you guys see us next week. And as we get out of here, listen to this new song, or this song that we made in the past called Mind War. Take care, everybody.
We are now engaged in mind war. The subjects, coloreds, blacks, African Americans, so-called Negroes. Drop a bomb right here.
This battle began in the womb. It lasts all the way to your tomb. If you don't know this, you're doomed. The mind has been hit.
Drop another bomb.
Boom. Mind war happens in your brain. Beat this, let us explain. We're gonna make this thing plain. They took yours and gave you a slave name. From birth indoctrinated, trained and miseducated. You've assimilated it, now owned and dominated. Consciousness held hostage, real values in bondage. Oh, the damage, the carnage, the result, soul hatred.
This mind war is going directly as organized. Release a high volume of artillery now. Keep them dependent upon us. Deceive them with political parties and history. Drop another bomb.
Working against your interests. You made others sufficient. You're wounded and incoherent. Can we free you? Don't get indignant. You wanna be so hardcore, but allow others to keep you poor. Your new conquistadors train you to fight no more. Oh yes, you're right, you're a victim, for you've laid down for this system. See, you love individualism, but don't care about nationalism. Oh, I bet you do, but not yours. You've been brainwashed to ignore. You let out a loud roar, but no teeth, prisoners of mind war.
Mission accomplished. The vast majority of casualties occurred during our all-out mind assault. Right now, we have the power to make them do and think as we want. No resistance will be further displayed, I assure you. Docility has been implemented, and ignorance will run its course, just as planned.
Yes, Captain. There's a few more of them out there, but don't worry. We'll get them. It's just a matter of time.
Yes.
I'll take them.
And a woman says, sir, John, true sisters know that self. Don't let them play you for a fool. Most of my people don't even really have a clue. Many walking around the range like their screws have been loose. Listen, this is a war, and it ain't no joke. They done messed up the mental process of my folk. Deceived and confused are my folks. Led by exploited sites that choke and die broke. And now a woman says, sir, John, the truth. I'm in love with my brown skin. I don't wanna be used. Even though I'm being haunted, America's most wanted. The front line of prey, just a regular day. Middle and upper class, so you think you've escaped. You are in a deck of cards where every card gets played. Nah, it won't be long before you're being replaced. Get out of line and feel the wrath of America's rage. Soldier cries, keep fighting this mind war. And like we informed before. Till death we will never ignore. On to the end.
Black woman, mind war.
All subjects have been annihilated.
No, just the Negroes. We, conscious community, stand in total unity. Queen G told y'all before, they ain't playing. This is mind war.